You are now watching Believe. Do you believe?
What's up, Commanders fans? Welcome into Believe in Commanders. I'm your host, Brian Murphy. Back after a 1 week absence. I'm glad to be back with my guy, AAA. He held it down well last week. Really enjoyed listening into that. But I'm glad to be back talking about the Commanders. We are getting so close to football season. AAA, how are you doing, my man?
I'm good, Brian. I'm good. We missed you last week. Lake held it down. He came through, dropped a lot of knowledge. But did you get everything handled back at home?
Yes. I'm sitting here at home. Everything is standing. Everything is good to go. So I'm just glad to be talking football instead of talking about home repairs and all that. Never fun. It never rears its head at the best time. There's not ever a good time, but it's always at the worst time. So
that is a fact.
Appreciate Lake coming on. Yeah, I really enjoyed that, and thought you guys sounded great. So, but I'm glad to be back in and talking a little bit of football, a little bit about the Commanders.
Yes, but we got to make sure we drop this in here. We know
That's
that
right.
We have ourselves a sponsor. So shout out to our sponsors, the wonderful folks at Bet Online. Bet Online, Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. The Bet Online continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. So head online to Bet Online. Head over to Bet Online today. Use your mobile device. You can do that as well. And join today. Make your first sports deposit. Make your first bet. You're going to use our promo code BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. Made our way through there. I made my way to the site. I saw some good things. I saw some fun little bets and futures that are out there. So we'll probably touch on some of those a little bit later on in the show. But let's get rolling. Rolling.
Absolutely. So some big news this week for the Commanders. Some good news off the field. It feels like sometimes that's not always the case with this team. But a jersey is going up in the rafters. I see your number 13 behind you, and now no Commanders, no Redskins. Nobody will ever wear the number 9 ever again. Sonny Jurgensen, well deserved. His number 9 will be retired by the team. Seems long overdue. Just a guy that when you think about Sonny, you just think about Washington, you think about the Redskins, you think about those glory days. And so it'll be so awesome to see his number 9 up there in the rafters, quote unquote. Never worn by anybody again in Washington, never worn again in the burgundy and gold. So that's really exciting. A really cool moment for this team. How do you feel about Sonny's number going up there?
It's exciting. You always love when legends get recognized, right? When you give them their flowers, and it's definitely the right thing to do. And shoot, they should throw a little microphone up there as well. So since he spent so much time in the booth, right. But I tell you, before they did the renovations at Redskins Park, they had these 2 couches that sat at the top of the stairs, and then one of them had a nameplate behind it, had Sonny Jurgensen on there. So, I would ask, you're like, oh no, that's Sonny's seat. That's Sonny's seat. So whenever Sonny was around, that was his seat. You did not sit there. So we maybe chopped it up a couple of times, just had a little conversation. I was like, hey, I'm gonna take this opportunity to talk to a legend, to talk to one of the greatest. So congratulations to Sonny. No more number 9. I think who was the last one to wear 9 for us? I don't know. Doesn't matter though. Doesn't even matter anymore.
It seems like that's one of those numbers that they just kind of held out, and now it's official. Nobody is going to wear it at all. So Sonny's number 9 no longer available. So cool. They're going to do that in the last regular season game, Week 18 against the Cowboys.
That's fitting.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that's the whiteout game there to end the season. And can you imagine if it has some playoff implication? Cowboys and Commanders, a storied rivalry. Halftime, Sonny's jersey is going up. That could be quite the day out there at FedEx Field. That could be a lot of fun.
Oh man, I think he might cuss or something on live TV just to get the guys fired up. Like that's gonna be it's gonna just be a great culmination to the season. Just a great buildup, and ideally, there's a win total that's going to make that game that much more special for this team. Probably touch on that a little bit later on in the show as well, see what they're going to get on wins. But congratulations to Sonny. But we got some more news to cover. Let's go.
That's right. So some good news there off the field. Sonny's number forever enshrined there at FedEx Field. Another guy who wears double 9, Chase Young, he is going on the PUP list. I don't know that was super surprising. It seems like he's been slowly working his way back from the knee injury, but they made it official. He will miss the first 4 games of the season at least. They say that he'll be eligible for that Week 5 matchup. I believe it's against the Titans. Who knows if he'll be back by then, but at the very minimum, he's going to miss the first month of the season. Anthony, what are your thoughts on that? I don't know how surprising it is, but it always stings when a playmaker like Chase Young is not available for a month to start the season.
I think it's one of those things you obviously knew that he was going to probably make his way over to that PUP list, and that's perfectly fine. It does catch you off guard when you're like, wow, he could come back in Week 5, but you're like, wait a second, didn't he have a pretty major surgery there? Apparently, I saw something that said that he had his patella was ruptured as well, so he had more going on in his knee. I'm not sure if that lengthens the rehab time or if that actually is beneficial for some instances, but who knows? I'm glad that at least that decision's done, but he'll be back soon, and it's going to be exciting. I would not want him back against Derrick Henry. That is not not the welcoming committee that you want to send your star franchise into.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that leaves you with, at maximum 13 games. I think I'm with you. I don't think that he comes right back at Week 5. I think it could be closer to 2 months, maybe something like that. I'm totally guessing there. But yeah, I like that they are not rushing him back at all. You got to get this right, and you could just make it worse if you try to bring him back out there too quickly. So, I think that it's the right move to slow play this and get him back at 100%.
And the other guy coming back, Logan Thomas.
Yeah.
Logan Thomas. At the same time, Sammis Reyes has received a settlement, so he's no longer on the team. But you get Logan Thomas back. That's a much welcomed addition to that tight end room that suffered a lot of injuries so far. Has some young talent, but it's glad to have Logan back. I'm hopeful that he's going to be able to help make an impact on this offense.
Yeah, absolutely. And, another guy that's dealing or, coming back from a knee injury, it's obvious that his, thankfully wasn't as bad as Chase Young, because his injury happened in November and he's already back here by August, which is really, really good. So, yeah, it's always a boost to have Logan Thomas back. I think he's a difference maker. He's a huge target, literally, for this team. He is a huge man out there.
He's a big guy.
Yeah, for those quarterbacks. And, I think it'll take a couple of games maybe for Carson Wentz and him to get on the same page. But to have him out there is a huge deal. And you're absolutely right. The tight end position this offseason and into the preseason has been a revolving door. Sammis Reyes, a great story, learning football, was on the team all last year. They had that settlement. So, you hate to see that it didn't work out, but you got to feel good about Logan Thomas coming back and hopefully some of these guys getting healthy at the right time right before the season.
One thing I was going to ask you, do you trust this staff, medical, front office, etc., to handle these injury situations now? I was thinking about this because obviously last year, you'd hear about the Curtis Samuel and like, oh my God, that's been mishandled so much. But I could say that in my opinion, I trust that these two guys are on good track to get back on the field. It's not going to be rushed. I feel like, the way that they've handled Curtis Samuel all throughout training camp, and he's on track to play. Logan and Chase, I think those guys have to be on track as well, and they're not going to get put on the field too early. I think that you can tell that this organization and this staff is taking it a little bit slower. They're willing to say, hey, you guys have a lot of football ahead of you that we want you to play in Washington. Let's make sure you're healthy and healthy enough to play and actually contribute rather than just throw you back on the field. So I had to give them a little kudos.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that they're looking at the big picture. I think us fans are excited for week 1 and we want to see all our guys out there, but that's one of 17 games. This is a long haul. This is only the second year that they're playing 17 games. You got to be thinking about that. And I think that's what Ron Rivera and this whole team is doing, despite all the criticism that you might have heard online all summer long about Curtis Samuel, why he was in and out and all that. I agree with you. You got to give them props that they're putting the players first, and they're not trying to rush them back just for the sake of getting a week 1 or week 2 win. They're looking at this whole marathon of the season, and it'd be nice to have Chase Young out there in week 1 against the Jags, but it'll be even better to have them out there for the home stretch when the weather turns cold and these division matchups start to heat up. That's when I want Chase Young out there. That's when I want him at his best, and
absolutely,
I appreciate that from the team. So we did not see Chase Young. We didn't see Logan Thomas in the matchup against Kansas City. I know we're a couple of days removed from that, but we wanted to touch on it. What were your overall thoughts on the game against the Chiefs? To me, obviously, the score doesn't matter, 24-14. They lost. They're now 0-2 in the preseason. None of that matters. Didn't seem like there were any significant injuries, so that's a win in itself. But as far as the on-the-field product, what are some of your quick takeaways from that matchup against Kansas City?
Quickly, I start defensively. Patrick Mahomes is good. Mm-hmm. Okay, Patrick Mahomes.
Breaking news! That is breaking right? News into the Believe in Commanders newsroom.
Sound the alarm! The dude is good at football. Okay, so one side of it, I'll say this. Defense wasn't good at third down. Defense gave up too many plays. There were a lot of holes out there. There was no pressure coming up front. All that makes sense. But Patrick Mahomes is really good. Okay, yes. We're fortunate that they didn't have that wasn't a regular game because it could have gotten out of hand. It could have got out of hand. And the reason I say that because if I flip over to the offensive side, it once again kind of took them a little bit of time to get rolling. Never really found a big rhythm. And so, especially going against a team like Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, you're not going to be able to afford yourself the opportunity to have to take 2 or 3 drives to get warmed up. Was the overall improvement better? Carson being able to get the ball to a few more players, get the ball into Jahan's hands quickly, that was good. But I think it was a bit of a letdown just from the fact that you're like, oh, I'm really ready to see these guys, and you're like, oh, dang. But it's okay. Being patient. Still preseason. Obviously, yes, we're almost there. It's time to get it rolling. But I'm glad that Washington doesn't have to play Kansas City week 1.
Mm-hmm. And
you're going to get Jacksonville. And no disrespect, but that's a different caliber of team.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, the third down thing was alarming. It looked like all of last season where first and second down looked really promising. You even got, Patrick Mahomes as much of a wizard as he is, you got him into some long situations. And I know he's ridiculous, but come on, make a play. This was supposed to be the dress rehearsal game. And while it doesn't matter, while the results don't matter, that is not really encouraging. And so, it just makes me a little weary that it doesn't seem like anything has changed on that defensive side of the football. It seems like they get really soft and conservative on third down. It ends up biting them. And, I know Jacksonville's week 1. I know Trevor Lawrence, while I think he's going to be pretty solid, he's no Patrick Mahomes, but you allow any quarterback, to make plays on third down, get into a rhythm like that, and it's going to be a long day at the office. It makes me think that Jack Del Rio's seat's a little hot. And I know it's only preseason, but he's got to show some real improvement when these games start to matter. I don't know if you can flip the switch, but he's got to show me something, and his unit's got to show me something. Otherwise, I'm feeling a little bit of a sour taste in my stomach. And I know it's preseason. I have to keep checking myself there, but it did not make me feel good with the regular season only 18 days away.
Oh, that was on mute. So, I agree to that. I feel like this is a team that the offense has to help the defense and vice versa, right? You're not looking at like you look at Green Bay. you know that whatever happens on defense, 12 gonna get the ball.
Right.
And he's gonna make something happen, right? Kansas City, but Mahomes gets the ball. Right now, Washington they're still trying to put the pieces together. I mean, got a whole brand new quarterback, learning a whole new system. But you don't have all that much time in this league, right? You don't have all that much time. So ideally, I'm an eternal optimist. Things have to look better and show. You have to show some improvement, especially when you get into this regular season. You bring up a great point about Del Rio. They're gonna have to ask some questions. You know what I mean? Yep. They're gonna have to ask some questions, and they're gonna have to find a way to create some pressure up front because you really don't want to be giving up third downs like that. Giving up third downs is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, absolutely. So they move into their last preseason game against the Ravens. The Ravens, who are, the preseason kings. They have 22 preseason wins in a row. That is such an anomaly. I don't even understand how you win 22 games in a row, especially in preseason where you're playing guys that are going to be out of the league the next week. I mean, just real quick, how does that happen? I mean, I can't even put a word to that. And it's just crazy.
You know what? I tell you that you got to give credit to Coach Harbaugh. That's something that he instills that winning is important. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's winning is something to grasp to, regardless if it's preseason or not. So you got to just give credit to that. Just know you're going to get out there and compete, and the goal is to win all the time. And you don't have to go in there and say, oh, well, it's just preseason. Even though it is, it's like, hey, if we're going to go out here and play, you might as well make something of it. And then if you think about the guys that aren't going to be on the team and they may never get to play football again, hell, you might as well go out there and try to win a ball game. You might as well go out there and put something good on tape. You only get but so many plays, and those might be your last plays. You might as well put some good on tape. Might as well go home and say, hey, we went 3-0 in the preseason. And if that's the feather that's in your cap, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with having that. So you got to give kudos just wanting to win.
It seems like a big example of the old adage, practice how you play. You got to do everything right. It doesn't matter, what the situation is. You got to go out there and do what you were working on in practice. And they do that, week in and week out. And that's why Harbaugh has been such a successful coach. But speaking of coaching on the other side, Ron Rivera kind of tipped his cap at it, saying that you do try to win every game. But this week, I think he said today that the starters would be very limited. So maybe see them for a series, a few plays. I don't know what that looks like, but I think this will be really kind of deciding those last couple of spots on the roster. Those 50, 51, 52, 53 third guys there at the end.
Yeah, hopefully at this point, the most of the decisions are made. Right. Most of them, they have a really good idea. And then there may be one or two guys that are looking for a spot. There's some guys that are going to probably earn some practice squad positions off of this final preseason game. And like I said before, the eye in the sky is going to all 32 teams. Everybody gets to see this tape. And I think of a story of a fellow player. What was he? Receiver. He came in, he was a rookie in 2010, and I knew that they really liked him and they wanted him to be successful, and he got a lot of opportunities in that final preseason game and just came up a little bit short. And I'm like, golly, I know that they were trying to get you on here, but you didn't take full advantage of that opportunity. And there are going to be some guys out here that do that, I mean, and going back to Baltimore, the fact that they win all those games means that they have some pretty solid players too. Yeah. They got a lot of depth. That looks at the way that they draft. They seem to always have a successful draft. Just because you got your threes in there doesn't mean your threes aren't going to be, solid football players. But they do a good job of building a hell of an organization there. That's why they're consistently in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I hope the Commanders end that streak, but most of all, I hope they stay healthy. I think that's the most important thing in preseason. Get and stay healthy and get ready to go against the Jaguars week 1 when it matters. So, we'll be looking at that, and we'll be seeing how they do in that last game, breaking down the final 53 next week when that comes out. So football is right around the corner. When roster cut downs happen, it's sad for some guys, but that roster is coming together for the regular season. So we wanted to wrap up this show here. We told you we're brought to you by Bet Online. They are sponsoring the show. Make sure to use our code BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50. So we wanted to do some Commanders props and then a couple of win totals over and unders. And I think we're going to try to make these picks part of our show week in and week out, and hopefully give you some winners there. Or maybe you realize how bad we are and you go totally against us. Hopefully that's not the case.
He's like, who'd you pick? I bet I'm
going the other way. Yeah, I'm going to put in that Believe 50 code and go the totally opposite way. But I thought we could hit a couple of player props for the Commanders, and then I'm going to spring a couple of teams on AAA here, and we're going to pick their win total over and under. So we're going to revisit this episode here. We're recording on August 24th before the last preseason game, right? So who knows how silly these will be once the regular season gets going. But we're going to start on the offensive side of the ball with a prop bet, an over-under for Carson Wentz. I'm going to go with his touchdowns, and the number I found on Bet Online, 23.5 passing touchdowns. AAA, are you going over or under that mark for Carson Wentz, 23.5?
I'm going to take the over.
Okay.
I'm going to take the over. In my head, I was thinking he falls into that 27 range, right? I mean, a lot of his more successful seasons, even back in Philly, it was like 27-7. That was kind of that was good Carson.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good ratio for him. I think he's coming off of a 27 touchdown season in Indianapolis. So I had my eyes on 27. So I'm going to definitely take the over on this one. I think that's easy money. Not financial advice, but that is definitely easy money.
That's right. I'm
what
going
you got?
Yeah, I'm going over as well. I was thinking about 26, and it's funny that we started this show with Sonny Jurgensen, still the one and only Washington quarterback to throw for 30 or more touchdowns in a season, which is incredibly sad, that it was that long ago. I think it was late 60s when he did that. So I think Carson Wentz, if everything breaks right, he's got a chance to hit 30, but I think 26, 27, 28-ish is a solid number. But I'm definitely going over 23.5 touchdowns for Mr. Wentz.
Yeah, if you get to 30, then there is some fireworks at FedEx, man.
We're talking about some January games if he can get in up to 30. So the captain, the guy that everybody knows, he signed a big deal this year. Terry McLaurin, his over-under for receiving yards is set at 1,050.5 yards, 1,050.5 yards over/under for number 17.
You go first.
Okay, I'm going to say over. I think they are shortchanging this guy. I think he is going to break out and have a huge year. As much as a guy that has already, put together the resume that he has can break out, I think that he goes north of 1,100. I think that he sniffs 7-8 touchdowns, which would be a career high. So, yeah, I'm going over 1,050.5 yards. I think he's closer to 1,200. I think this is a huge year for Terry McLaurin. I'm going way over.
All right. Okay. You're taking way over. I just went and was pulling up stats. So he's had rookie year 919.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he knocked me down from the second place of the rookie receiving yards. He had 919.
That's a personal stat there.
Yeah, a little bit. I just realized he's from Indianapolis, and I was born in Indianapolis, so we're basically the same. He had 1,100 yards in 2020, and then 1,053 with 10 fewer receptions in 2021. So that 1,050 is a hell of a bet, and I'm going to take the over. I think it's going to be close. And it's not anything against him. It's not anything against Carson Wentz. It's the fact that there's other players that are out there. And frankly, if you go back and you're looking at Carson Wentz's stats, Zach Ertz is the only receiver to have 1,000 yards with him as a quarterback.
Ooh.
So Terry is, it's one of those ones where you're like, man, it stinks that it's just the way that it's been. But I mean, frankly, if you look at it, Zach Ertz is a hell of a tight end, and he'd probably be one of my favorite targets as well. So I think the fact that you're going to need Terry to show up, he's going to get his yards, he's going to make plays. I think he can beat that. He'll beat that 10-50. It'll be by a little bit because he's going to have to give some yards to Jahan and Curtis.
I like that. I think that's a good problem to have, but I just think Terry McLaurin is in for a huge year. But I like you bringing up the stats there. That makes me want to lean your way a little bit more. But we both go over. That's all that matters. So quickly on the defensive side of the ball, I found some individual sack totals for probably the three biggest names on the defensive side of the ball: John Allen, Montez Sweat, Chase Young. So Chase Young, we know, is going to be out at least the first month. So I don't know how fair it would be to do his individual sack total. So I added these up. We're going to go with those three guys: John Allen, Montez Sweat, and Chase Young, over under 20 sacks on the season for those three guys combined. What are you thinking for those guys, 20 sacks this season?
Oh, man. I'm over here going through my head doing some quick math. I'm like, all right, cool. 3 people over 20. I'm like, 7 apiece gets you there. 7. I'm going to have to go to the old stat machine. I got to pull up some stats. I'm going to say under.
Okay.
Under. And it's not anything against those guys, right? It's just, I think that you got, let me see. I'm trying to see what John Allen has for his career.
I think he had like 9.5 last year was a career high.
9 sacks last year.
9. Okay.
9 last year, 2 the year before, 6, 8. So he's had 8 and 9. So he can definitely play at that level. I'm going to say under, but I think it's close. I think it might end up with like 19 or 20 just between those three. I just feel like that's probably where they fall at.
All right. Well, I'm going to be a little bit bullish. I think they do get over 20. I think it might be 20 and a half, maybe only 21. But I think that these guys are going to be motivated. I think Jonathan Allen is out to prove that he is one of the best defensive tackles in the league. Montez Sweat is going to have to hold down the pass rushing duties until Chase Young gets out there. So I think he's going to flirt with double-digit sacks, and I think he's going to be looking for a new contract. So that'll be extra motivation. This is all about motivation for me. And then when Chase Young gets out there, I think he's going to come out there whenever it is, whether it's September, October, into November, hopefully not. But when he gets out there, I think he's going to be, hoping to put last season and the disappointment of last season behind him. His hair's a little bit on fire, and he racks up some sacks there in a limited season. So I'm going to go over, and I know that sounds like a homer pick, but I really think that these guys, all three of them, probably need to take a step here, and I think that they're prideful players in a good way, and I think that they go over, and I think that they hit that 21 mark, so just over 20 sacks.
Well, going here checking Pro Football Reference.
Don't get choked up. Chase is going to be back soon.
Getting a little choked up about it. Yeah. So at their best, Chase had 7.5 his rookie year. Montez's best is 9. John's best is 9, and he's had 8 as well. So if they play at their best, 9, 9, and 7.5, you get there. You get there pretty easily. I'm thinking, who knows when Chase is going to come back? Right. You know what I mean? Right. And if you don't have somebody on the opposite end to step up, that's really going to create some havoc, then there's going to be a lot of double teams going Montez's way. All right. Hell, if you don't get off third down, they're going to be running the ball. All right.
That's
Teams will be running the ball. So there's a lot that goes into this. There's a whole lot. Was there over or under on interceptions? Did they have something like that?
I didn't see that number anywhere. Maybe we can look at it and hit that for next one. Those were the numbers I found were sack totals. But I was interested in that too because I think that Kendall Fuller and William Jackson III, I think they're going to be hungry to turn a couple of balls over here. So I'm curious to see what they do, and maybe we can find a number right before the season gets started.
I like it.
Okay, so one more. We're going to go kind of NFL wide. First off, we're going to start with the Commanders. They have BetOnline has them at over/under of 8 wins. Are you taking the over/under for the Commanders 8 wins?
I'm taking the over. I'm been on here. I said I got him at I'm going at best. You're looking at a 10-win team. Like if everything aligns, I think they can get to 10 wins. So I'm going with the over on that one.
I am too. I think I have them at 9 right now. I think if everything goes right, they could get to 10 or 11, but definitely over 8. So I did a random generator here, and I'm going to spin it and pick an NFL team, and we're going to give their over under. So first up, the Panthers. The Panthers over under. Let me find it real quick. Maybe rile up the Carolinas here. 6.5 wins. Over under 6.5 wins for the Panthers, who just said that Baker Mayfield is going to be QB1. Over under 6.5 for the Panthers.
Ooh,
tough division.
It is. It's a tough division, but it's also outside of having to play against the Bucs twice. You compete. You can compete against both Atlanta and with Jameis. I mean, it's a division full of quarterbacks that are getting another shot. You know what I mean? Jameis is getting the keys. Baker's in a new place. Mariota's in a new place. Everybody has something to prove. I'm going to take the over, but I feel like it's going to be like 7. It's barely over. They got a lot of talent on that team. And I feel like that division is going to beat each other up. I'm going to take 7 wins for them.
All right. I'm going to go just over as well. I think as much as Baker Mayfield is criticized, and I probably criticize him more than most, I think he's the kind of guy that's going to keep you in games and keep you right around that 500 mark. I guess you can't finish 500 with an odd number of games, but that 7, 8, 9 win mark. So I think the Panthers do go over 6.5. So one more, we're going to go with a trifecta: the Commanders, the Panthers, and the Chicago Bears.
Ooh.
Their over under is set at 6 wins. New head coach Eberflus.
Yeah, I know Matt. I know Coach Eberflus. He was down here in Dallas when I was here for that short stint.
All right. So 6 degrees of separation there. So Chicago Bears over under 6 wins for the Windy City.
Under.
Okay.
Under. I think they just got a little ways to go. So I'm going to take the under. That doesn't mean, it means they're not going to have that good of a season. I'm going to go with the under. It's just, I want to see. I'm going to check their schedule to back that up, but your turn.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go just over. I think that Justin Fields is a legit gamer. I hope that they put enough pieces around him, but it's kind of to me that the NFC North, I think, is going to take a step back. I'm not a real big believer in Minnesota. I think the Lions are kind of getting there, and I think Aaron Rodgers, as as good as he is, he lost a lot of his weapons. So it'll be interesting to see. I think Chicago, if they can do some things there, that they might go just over 6 wins. That sounds like a tall task, but I think they might sneak a 7th win in there. And honestly, kind of stay in that purgatory of the NFL, not high enough to get, that first overall pick, but not not bad enough to get that first overall pick, but not good enough to compete for the playoffs. So I'm going to go over there. So that's a quick over under segment. I like that. I think we need to incorporate some more of that, especially with our guys at Bet Online supporting the show.
Yes, indeed. When I look at October 13th, the Commanders visit the Bears. So
that's right. That's the orange out or something like that.
Yeah, I think they're rocking their orange helmets.
Oh, can't lose to that.
look like some jack-o'-lanterns out there in October.
That's right.
I'm looking at their schedule. They open up with San Francisco, then they got Green Bay, then you have the Texans, the Giants, Vikings, Commanders, Patriots. It's not an easy schedule. There's a couple of games in there that I think that they're going to compete in, and it's kind of a toss-up, like that Giants game. I think it's a toss-up. The Texans game will be a toss-up. But outside of that, they don't have very many easy games to deal with. I mean, I see the Bills right there before Christmas. Whew, it's tough.
Yeah, it's going to be tough in the Windy City. But maybe I'm a little bullish. I'm a little bullish on the Commanders there, but a little bit bullish on the Bears. I didn't think I'd say that. Well, we teased it on Twitter. We also have a Madden giveaway. Anthony Armstrong came in clutch, and he is giving away a PS5 version, which he is holding up right now. My goodness, it is right there. Woo.
Yeah, it's here. The glare is going crazy, but got a PS5 Madden 23 version of the game, and I was like, man, I gotta do something with this.
Yeah,
and, figure let's give it away to somebody, a lucky listener.
That's right.
Lucky listener that can follow directions.
That's right. So you got to like the show the Twitter page, Believe Commanders, which I know we've got a strong following going there. Got to keep that up.
Shout out to y'all.
And please download, subscribe, like all of that for whatever podcast platform that you listen to the show on.
Please.
And then what's a final direction that we can give one lucky listener that's gonna win this copy of Madden?
Let's see. I was gonna say maybe you give us your over under for the team's wins, but I feel like that could end up going. That could just go get wild anyways if people just kind of jump in on it.
Maybe can we have is there a code word that we can have them?
I was gonna say snickerdoodle, but then instead of just snickerdoodle, you just say what your favorite cookie is.
Okay, I like it.
Drop what your favorite cookie is on there. We'll know. Follow us on Twitter. Follow Believe in Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
At Believe Commanders. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Follow that on Twitter. You can tell us what your over-under is for the Bears, Panthers, or the Commanders. And then also let us know what your favorite cookie is.
Yeah. I love it.
So,
I love it.
Drop that in there.
Sneak in the sweets there, and yeah, we will get this game out to you. Obviously, you probably want to have a PS5 if you're entering this, but pretty sweet.
I don't have that drawing.
Yeah, pretty sweet giveaway there. Thanks to our guy AAA. So make sure you follow all those directions. Like us on Twitter. Obviously, go download and listen and all of that. But give us your over unders. We want to hear that, but we also want to hear your favorite cookie as we roll into fall and get football season underway. What cookie are you sitting down on the couch with a big glass of milk and watching the games?
Right. I don't do like the milk and dunk it in there. I don't do that. But the wife had made these cookies, these chocolate chip cookies. And there's something up with that recipe where they crispy on the outside, but they're soft and gooey and chewy in the middle. Ooh.
Oh, you know what I'm doing after this? That's mine too. A good chocolate chip cookie it's hard to beat. It's like it's like football on Sundays. It's just as good as it gets. Chocolate chip cookie right there.
We're a few months away from all the sweets and the holidays coming around. So make sure y'all check your nutrition, man. Keep your stuff in line. But yes, appreciate it. This has been fun, Brian. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Same here. Thanks again to Bet Online for supporting the show. So get your over-unders in, all kinds of bets that you can make on there. So we're excited to be working with those guys. We appreciate them helping support the show. And we appreciate you guys listening in. So hopefully you follow the directions and can win that copy of Madden. We'll talk to you next week. We'll have a 53-man roster, and we'll be talking about some regular season football before you know it. Be good out there, and thank you guys for listening.
Yes, don't forget to use that code at Believe50, and they even have a bet for the NFL Coach of the Year.
Wow, you can literally find everything on there. I love it.
Anything, I love it. Appreciate y'all. Y'all take it easy. See y'all next time.